Hello, bookish friends. Welcome back to Amanda's Bookish Adventures, and it is day 6 of Bookmas, and we're wrapping up the month of May. So it is May 2nd, and I've only read one thing, but the reason why May is getting its own wrap up is because I will be attempting to try 31 books in 31 days. I have done this challenge in the past, but I normally have done it at the beginning of the year, January. Now I need to do it in May, and I'll tell you the reason why. I have a very big game release coming in June. It was supposed to be at the end of May. So I was excited to do this project regardless, but I will not be reading maybe 5 books in June because once that game is in my hands, there is nothing. And it's not a game, it's Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. I will not be reading. It's not like I could listen to an audiobook. There's a full cast of characters. So we will be reading 31 books in 31 days. I'm not, you guys, me. I am being a little harder on myself because I've filmed this so many times and the chaos of it all because my anxiety has triggered. So let's talk about what I read yesterday. So I read the poetry collection. Let me get my Kindle because I'm blind as a bat. So I read Break Your Glass Slippers by Amanda Lovelace, and I gave it a 4-star. Amanda Lovelace, the best-selling award-winning author of The Woman Are Some Kind of Magic poetry series, presents a new companion series. You are your own fairy tale, the overcoming those who don't see your worth, even if the person sometimes yourself is the epic tale of your life. You are the most important character, while everyone but a forgotten footnote, even the prince. I loved this collection, but I've only read a few of Amanda Lovelace's, and then it was during COVID, so overall I was very emotional. So I'm going to continue on with reading some of the poetry collections this month. I have another one I checked out. I have the audiobooks off Libby that I kind of want to do to see if it intrigues me more. But what I love about this is her poetry collections are in Kindle Unlimited. So that was just such a beautiful thing, and it made me happy because it talked a lot about relationships, toxic relationships with family, um, when is the right time to kind of cut someone off, fat phobia, and one of the poems about a family member really hit me because I'm like I dealt with that. It was overall a very toxic relationship, and it was good to read it in poetry, and it was a 4-star. I Maybe it's because I wasn't in the mood. It could possibly been a 5-star, but a 4-star I feel for something that small, and it just hit a right spot. But it wasn't. It. I think for poetry, I think to give 5-star, what I'm gonna do is I have to cry because I can connect on it on a beautiful level, and if it laughs and good, if I laugh or cry, I think it'd be amazing. But 4-star, and especially since I haven't read poetry in a long time. I did read one collection last year. I gave that one a 5-star. That was an amazing collection, but it wasn't from Amanda Lovelace. So I'm going to hopefully read more this month. So that is the first thing I have read for May. I will probably be talking to you guys in a little bit because I'm going to try to read some manga to do day 2 and day 3. We're going to crack on some physical reads. That's going to be a very big goal for this month. So I will talk to you in a while, and hopefully Bookmas is going great. I'm still getting nervous every time I feel these entries because these are pre-recorded, and I just cannot imagine what December is going to be like work-wise. So I have more books to wrap up for you guys. I read volume 6 of My Gently Raised Beast and volume 7 of My Gently Raised Beast, and they're both 5-stars. So Blondina has met Amon since they were children. Humans and divine beast have been at war, and they became the best of friends into something more. While Blondina is a bastard of the royal family, she gets acknowledged, and it caused a rift between her sister and the brother she didn't know, Lart. And so there's conflict between the royal family and with nobles. and it's the relationship Amon's and Blondina's, and he calls her Birdie, and it's sweet and it's cute, and they were both 5 stars. I think in this wrap up, we're going to be finishing this series because I have 2 more volumes that I'm planning to read tonight to make it so I'm a little bit ahead. Because with the 2 volumes I read yesterday and the poetry collection, that's 3 books, and we are on day 3 of May. So I am currently reading a physical novel, but I probably won't have much time to get into it. But I'm planning to try to do a big chunk before I start the manga tonight before I go to bed. So these are my wrap up, and I'm so happy because that means I will be finishing a manga series, and I'm in between so many right now. It it's a very good thing. It's sad though. I do plan on rereading these at the beginning of the year to boost the score, but they came out not back to back, but slow releases, so it would be good just to kind of read 1 through 9 so I have the whole picture, and I think it sounds like a fun time. So I will talk to you guys another day, but overall, I'm happy with having some 5 stars on here already. So I'm here to wrap up a couple more things I've read so far in the month of May. So I read The Fox's Kiss, Volume 1. Koharu discovers she has the power to heal the demons like her late grandmother did. The over self-confident demon Lori takes a liking to her, then suddenly kisses her with the ritual of an engagement. What will happen to Koharu now that she has to live with Lori in a human form? So I gave Volume 1 and Volume 2 4 stars, and I enjoyed it. She always questioned her grandmother's ability to heal things she could not see, and her grandmother had a conflict with her child because she's talking strange things, and it conflicted like the family nature. When her grandmother passes, she get basically kind of inherits her grandmother's ability and meets Lori. She heals him, and she's interacting with other demons and the politics and the other clans. I enjoyed it. I would read it again, but it reminds me of one that I really loved from back in like 2015 or 13 I read, and it makes me kind of want to find that one because I read it off online, and I, for the life of me, couldn't remember, but they're very similar in that aspect, especially like with the grandmother situation. So I'll have to see, especially if I'm going to read manga. I'd like to read that and see if the series is finished and finish it. Overall, having those 2 volumes was nice, and I read a Kindle book. I have to type it in, even though it's on my Kindle. The Untethered. It's the Untethered Sky. I just gotta go like this and see if I type in Untethered Sky, if it would be easier. It's kind of easier when I have to only read one description. Amazon's not being kind. Hold on, let me see if I type it with my right hand because I'm typing it with my left hand, of course. Sorry. All right. It is the it's not it's Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. And let me just read the description and then I'll tell you my thoughts. Esther's mother was torn apart with the Manicore killed her mother and baby brother, leaving her with nothing but a father's painful silence, a single overwhelming need to kill the monsters that took her family. Esther's path leads her to the king's royal muse, where the giant rooks of legend are flown to hunt down Manicores by their brave and dedicated ruckers. Paired with a fledgling rock named Zara, Esther finds purpose and acclaimed, devoting herself to man sacrifice and a partnership between woman and rock. Esther not only is the Empire's most dangerous manicore hunt, but on a journey of preservation and acceptance. I gave it a 3.5. Now, I did struggle with it, especially so it's kind of like broken up in three parts. And part one was like really a big struggle for me. Part two, the beginning of part two, I struggled, but once we got into the end of part two and the beginning of part three and finished it, I did cry for like one scene. But 3.5, Esther was a hard character because it's only 152 pages. And so you're thrown into the story about her mother, her training as an apprentice, how she gets the Zara to trust her, and the development of her relationship, how women are like treated differently a little bit with their rules. They have to give up to hunt down the Manticores. They have to give up rights to their home, rights to have a family, and to get married because their sole purpose is to bond with that rook and develop the training and go on hunts to kill Manticores because they are devastating. But if you're an apprentice, you can get killed. Very easily, you can get killed. I did enjoy it, like I said. Esther was actually wasn't really the character because I didn't quite enjoy her. It was the writing to begin with, but it it was the pacing too. But it makes me excited to read more by Fonda Lee for the fact that if it was bigger and maybe just like a standalone, like of 400 or 500 pages, I could have given it a 5 star because there were so, or even a high four. There were so many moments I did enjoy, but there were so many moments of the book I struggled with. So, in total for the month of May, I've read 6 things, and we're only on May 5th. Doing pretty good. I would like to get some more books, not just manga. I'm feeling the struggle of reading more digital versus physical. So I'm going to read some more manga I own and some currently other books I'm in the middle of. I'm sorry this clip's been all over. It's been a struggle, but especially with the lighting, I had to like so my phone wasn't tilted like this. It's the angle's not the very best because I didn't film earlier. But overall, I'm happy with my reading progress, and I will talk to you later. I have more books to wrap up. So we have finished a manga series. So I have read volume My Gently Raised Beast volume 8 and volume 9, and I have other stuff to wrap up, but I want to talk about this. So you start the series, like I said in previous clips, this and the vlog, that Blondina's a child. So I've seen her through all her stages of life, to her friendship with Amon, to their romance, to the political intrigue, to humans being against divine beasts. I didn't know it was going to wrap up like this. This wrapped up the story to a very good point. Even though this is a 5, this was more like a novella. Like, we did get some ending of Blondina, but we got endings for the other characters. And it was good because we got to see a character I haven't seen since the beginning of the series. It's intriguing that to get more of that information for that little side note. I think I would have liked that at the beginning of volume 1. That could have been like the prologue to the series, but overall fun time with the series. And like I said, I'm planning to read it next year. Don't know if I'll do like a vlog. I might just talk about it as I read it. I was going to do a vlog itself, but I don't know, maybe in a couple of years I'll do a vlog when I've put it down. But overall, good. I did read, I think this was a wrapping up of a series too. The Fox Kiss Volume 3. I think that was and because I couldn't find any more volumes, and it ended in 2016 or 18. And I gave it a 3 stars. I felt like that should have been a 4 volume series. If you're going to give us such context in that amount of time, it should have been one and done. Like, it should have had the 4 or 5 and like kind of had arcs of the story. Overall, I did enjoy it. It was cute, and it was on Kindle Unlimited. So if you do want a quick paranormal read, manga read, romance. Sorry, I had to cut myself off. I went on a ramble, so I did read one more poetry. Yeah, sorry, one more poetry collection by Amanda Lovelace. This one is "Shine Your Own Ice Crown." Shine Your Ice Crown. This is the second installment in her new feminist poetry series, You Are Your Own Fairy Tale. This is a story about not letting society dictate the limits of your potential. It is time to take back your power and realize that you don't need a king in order to be a queen. I'm kind of, even though I gave it a 4 star, there were some poems I connected to, but it's not my favorite. The first, I have a TikTok about it and it was on my shorts for YouTube Shorts. The first poetry collection that I read from her, it just hit, and it was during COVID, so of course the emotions were running high. I had, in the first collection I read for this project, I did feel emotional, and there was some poems that really sat. There was one or two, but maybe it's because the way this one was directed towards that I just couldn't, like, it was beautiful, but it just didn't feel right in my time of life right now, if that makes sense. The third installment of the poetry collection's not in Kindle Unlimited, so I'm going to see if Libby has it. And if not, I do have from her original poetry collection that I did not read, or I may have read book two. I do not know, but it'll get reread. But I have those off Libby, so we'll be doing those and see how I compare. But overall, for the two poetry collections, both 4 stars. Now, that means a little check in. We have read mostly Kindle books, but we've gotten 4 mangas that I own read, so I'm happy with that. So we're at 10 books right now. This is like a weird angle. I don't know if I like it, but I'm just going to follow through. So 10 books, and that's pretty good because we're only on April 9th. I need to crack down on some more books, but I also need to crack down on a way more physical reading. So I'll talk to you guys when I finish something else, but overall, I am very hopeful for this project. I have more updates for this wrap up. So I ended up reading a comic, and it was Queen Bee, and this, let me be realistic about the rating. It was a 3 star, but because it's such sentimental, that I gave it a 5 star, and I'll read the description and I'll go over it a little more with you. From the town, all right. I shouldn't read that. Let's just read the description. Haley is smart. Haley is funny. And she's determined to be super popular in her new middle grade school. If she can control her problematic little secret power of hers. Enter secret power of hers. Enter a new 7th grade Alexa. She's smart, alecky, definitely not nice. She's got the power to, just like Haley. Is kinetic. She can move things with her mind and does, never missing a chance to embarrass someone in the classroom, cafeteria, or gym, especially Haley. When these two girls meet, there's literally a tornado. Their superpowers attract and repel each other because unbeknownst to them, then it's blank. Because there was supposed to be a second comic, and I don't think it did well in the sales of that time, but I wanted to go over. So it came out in 2005, and I bought this at the Scholastic Book Fair back then, and I had my physical copy for years until I kept moving as an adult and I lost it. I'm assuming it got lost in one of the moves. The last time I read this, I was in high school. And yeah, it was a core memory. Every time I was sad or upset, I would read it because it was a core memory of enjoyment. It was so fulfilling and I loved it so dearly and it was so special to me at the time. And I found it on Kindle and I just bought it. It was worth it. The only thing I'm sad about really is that my physical copy had some extra pages and the Kindle copy didn't have those extra pages. It's a sad they never picked it up because Haley didn't know she had this ability, and then one day in middle school it activated, so it made her an outsider even though she was like one of the most nicest people. So when she did move to this new school, that's why she was so determined to be in the popular clique and to be friends with everyone and to be super nice and liked because she's been an outsider her entire once this power has activated, and she makes some good friends and there's some hiccups, but overall it was such a very good time. So the next thing I read is a novella to a series that I'm doing currently doing a reading vlog outside of that will comes out way before this. So it is called Wave Song. Let me get the description. I did end up giving this a 5 stars because I this series is pretty good, and I do need to do a deep dive back into Emma Hamm's other series because pretty much everything from the series I have so far read has been a 5 star, even though I'm doing a reread. It's been 5 star. Alice Fairweather has always loved the sea, so when her father gets the opportunity to build a city beneath the waves, she's the first in the submarine with him. She's never to expect to discover an entire species of merfolk living there, and she didn't certainly expect to find that one of them so captivating. And she didn't expect to find one of them so captivating. But the song of the waves is one she's never been able to deny, even when the temptation comes form of a battle scar merman ember. So, because it's so short, I'm not going to go into it much, but her father created the stations in the series to save humanity because the surface was no longer viable for them, and by doing that, destroyed the Udin's environment. So it's started a big war between their people. It's very insta lovey, and it had to be because of how short it is, but I loved it in the series. It's just so beautifully written and it's so special. Then, even though it's this is not in order, but because it's just easier enough to click this down here to read the description to you. Whispers of the Deep. One of the many engineers that keeps Beta, the city under the sea, running, Mira, only wants to make her family proud. And to prove to herself, I'm trying to get more of the description. She wants to make her family proud, yes, I said that, and to prove herself worthy. She knows the mysterious cities better than anyone else. It is her dream to help it flourish, but then on a solo job and in an abandoned section of the city, she encounters a monster of legend, and an Udine, a dangerous merman from an ancient civilization, long forgotten. Argos, I'm just going to say Argos because it's easier, it might not be his name, has fought his entire life for his people with deadly creatures under his control. He plans to eradicate Beta once and for all to protect his kind. Their peaceful way of life. When a human woman saves him, she unknowingly creates a bond between them, one he can't ignore, even though her flaming red hair haunts his dreams. He needs her for information on the Udine's enemies. So he steals her, keeps her, feeds her, only to realize their bond is far deeper than the captor and captive. He cannot let her go, but he cannot keep her in the sea. In a battle to determine if love can survive a war beneath the waves, it will be less decisions that changes the tides. So Mira is basically an outsider because on Beta, the station she works at, to be an engineer and to be a woman is hard enough, but if an engineer goes missing, they really don't look for them because engineers go missing all the time. And with the conflict with the Udines and Argos being the tactician for the Udines, he's basically been trying to destroy the city the entire time. So he does kidnap her. They have no way of communication until they figure it out. But they learn through how to communicate through body language, and it's enemies to lovers. And I enjoyed it entirely to be back in this world. And you'll hear more of the series update in the vlog, but I'm reading the rest for the month too, so they'll be in these wrap ups. But I've only finished the novella and book one, and I'm currently reading book two. So I did read another manga series A royal rebound. Yeah. These manga series have such big names that I'm just going to read the volume. I read volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 3 is not out, and I don't know if it will come out. I got the description. I think it's the description from the light novel, but it's still the same story. Amelia is a studious young countess and water mage. Her fiance Reese is the second son of Marquess and wields earth magic, a desirable skill for the agriculture domain that Amelia father rules. The couple grew up together and has always gotten along well, so their happy future together seems certain. Yet after Reese enters the Royal Academy of Magic, Amelia loses all contact with him, although she assumes he's just busy with his studies. When she enters the academy a year later, her classmates ostracize her as Reese continues to avoid her throughout this confusing ordeal. The isolated and anxious Amelia finds comfort in the kindness of Sarge, the fourth prince, who seems to take keen interest in her. And I read volume 1 and volume 2 in the manga version, not the light novel. And Amelia had feelings for her fiance. They were friends from childhood. It may not have been romantic feelings, but he fell in love, and he's been trying to break this engagement for the whole entire year he's been there by himself. And her father's saying no, but he spread so many bad rumors that she's been isolated, and the fourth prince, Sarge, develops an interest in her, and it was really cute and enjoyable, and I had a good time with it. And we're almost at 10 minutes. This is going to be a very big wrap up. I'm glad I made it by itself. So at this point, I have read currently 16 things for the month of April, and it is only the month of May, and it's only May 14th. So that kind of puts me. Oh, right. No, I did read one more thing, physical thing that I just finished today. My bad. So I finished His Darkest Cravings by Tiffany Roberts. The secluded forest cabin was meant to give Sophie a place to hide, to heal, and to be safe. But from the moment she arrives, she's not alone. She glimpses the dark shapes from the corners of her eyes, feels the phantom touches, and her dreams are filled with seductive shadows. What her first mistake for delusions of her traumatized mind soon proved to be so much more. An ancient mystery, dangerous entity lurks in the woods and wants Sophia. It promises her security, peace, and passion. It demands all of her in return. Can she have what she wants without repeating the mistakes of her past? So it's very Fae like. If you've read Yearning for Her, it's kind of in similar context but different. I highly enjoyed this more than I read Yearning for Her, and Yearning for Her was a 4-star, but it was bigger. This was perfect. It's what I needed it to be. And Sophie and Cruz's relationship, he is the Lord of the Forest, and where she moved into this isolated cabin was in that forest. They fall in love. There's a curse. Sophie has trauma bond experiences where she has PTSD, and it's overall dealing with everything else they encounter. It's a sweet, and it was perfect for it being small as it was. In my mind, this is written so better. It was a 4.5, and I highly loved it. So that was the 16th book. So my bad. I probably would have messed up regardless because it's not written on this little notebook where I write down the pages so I can calculate everything at the end of the month, and I haven't done that yet. So really, it is my bad, and I will have to say, I love this, and I love her Fae lore, and I did love Yearning for Her. I was just frustrated with the one situation that didn't get wrapped. For as big as it was, that little plot detail still makes me mad. But this being smaller, I loved it, and all the details in the plot and the side, it just worked so well. So I will talk to you when I finished a couple more things. I don't know if I finish 31 things before 31 days are up. I do think I'm going to take a break from reading, or maybe focus on specialized vlogging projects like I kind of have been doing. But I'll talk to you in another update. So I'm using this clip for the vlog and the reading wrap up because I'm lazy and I really don't want to film this twice. So we're going to speed roll this. Officially today of May 16th, I've hit 20 books and I did this in a span of reading two novellas and I read two light novellas and I'm currently on the third, but I want to get back to some of the other stuff that I was reading and these were really my workbooks. And I did read the mangas earlier and then I started the light novella early and then I finished it later last night and then I finished volume 2 last night. Didn't You Say You Hate Me? The Troubled Doting Marriage Life of a Strange Duke, Volume 1. Philippa is the daughter of an earl and wishes to spend her life enjoying her hobbies and doing the things she likes. She has no interest in socializing with the other socialites of her age and in dating the opposite sex. She enjoys reading books and listening to stories of coming of age, going merchants. She relied on her parents when it came to marriage. That is when Philippa receives a marriage proposal from Duke Claude Morris, who is admired by everyone, being unable to decline. Philippa marries Claude on the very first night of being married. They return to the Duke's estate when he suddenly pushes her away, saying, "Don't come near me," with a stern face. Claude says, "I don't plan on having a man and woman relationship with you." And Philia begins to ask the reasons, but so volume 1 and 2 I both read and they were both 4 stars. I did read the first one, Kindle Unlimited, and then I purchased the second one. I do not think I'm going to go on with the rest of the series, and I'll explain a little bit more. So she came into this marriage, and he said that, and then he was getting all these reports of her kind deeds amongst the people. The king was giving her praise, and so he comes to the state to keep an eye on her, and then it's basically he falls in love, and then he tries to have the relationship with her. Even though I enjoyed volume 1 and volume 2, I'm a little frustrated. I think volume 2, I wish I didn't purchase it because of the fact is he does have his reasons why he didn't want to have that relationship with like that because he's been betrayed in the past. But instead of making this like all insta lovey of him just automatically falling for her back in volume 1 and then trying to correct the behavior. I mean, this could have been slowly like where he interacts with her and starts to see the good deeds and then him trying to change her mind on the relationship because she was like, "Great, I don't have to deal with you. I can do what I want." And it was good. It was frustrating because I was enjoying it. I saw volume 2, and yes, I did give it 4 stars because it was cute. But the more I thought about it, and I might honestly change volume 2, and actually, I might just change them both to 3 stars because overall, like, it was really good. But if I'm going to be in this world and I have to purchase the series to continue, I need this to be a slow burn because that's what I was expecting. And it's cute overall, but I definitely needed a slow burn. Now I need to type in the description for the light novel. And I will have to say, with these mangas that I've been reading, because they always have to have long titles and the light novels that even though I purchased, I haven't read before, they have way too long of titles. I love the US and other titles where it's like a word, where it's long but then ends and it doesn't have this like 15 sentence for the title. It's called The Oblivious Saint. Well, that's the beginning of the title anyway. I don't know why it said The Oblivious Notes. Okay, I think I bought the manga series too. I'll just read it next year because I've been enjoying it. So the whole title of these two light novels I read, "The Oblivious Saint Can't Contain Her Power." Forget my sister. Turns out I was the real saint all along. Volume 1, and it's a light manga, translated fiction, and I read 1 and volume 2, and I'm in the currently reading volume 3 on my phone, but I'll probably pick it back up at work. Lady Caroline, the overlooked daughter of a powerful duke, has always believed her to be the black sheep amid her kin. Her father, Dignish Prime Minister. Her elder sister, a prodigious mage destined to become the nation's next saint. In comparison, Caroline resigns herself to a quiet existence in the shadows until an unexpected royal decree alters her destiny, thrusting her into a political marriage with the phenomenal, bloodthirsty prince of the neighboring empire, Malcosa. Determined to prove her worth, Caroline takes a bold step into the world, fraught both with political and mortal peril, as a royal obligation entwines with hints of true love and the stirrings of her own latent power. Caroline moves closer to understanding what it truly means to be exceptional. So, her entire life, her father's been so busy in the country she was raised, being kind of separate, mourning his wife because on her death, the mother died a couple days later. So, her sister, Flora, has basically abused her. But by abusing her, she uses her to make situations to make herself like such a good image for her to abuse her sister and be like, oh, and defends her sister, and then just constantly she's grown up with this abuse. There's a situation between the nobles of different families, and the king of this country cannot send his daughter, to marry Prince Edward, who would have made the alliance and the friction between the countries good, and they can't marry the sister because they're so close to royal families, with him being the prime minister. The oldest sister, Flora, because she's saint to be, can't get married, so they send Carolina. And for society, she was always called worthless. And it's really her kind of creating a new family, falling in love with Edward, and experiencing all this joy. Complications, like in book 3, is they actually do slowly in the story find out that she had the power all along. So now it's basically they're going into her country wants her back because she's the saint. That's why they couldn't have the sister marry the prince. So political complications will probably estruth or move towards 3 and 4. I think I'll finish the series, but I do need to finish the next book in the Whispering of the Deep series and some other physical reads. But that is my update for now. And I will talk to the vlog about the Orc and her bride once I have an update on that. But like I said, I'm just going to use this clip for both things. So talk to you guys in a while. A couple more things to wrap up. So I finished Song of the Abyss by Emma Ham, and I don't know if I already wrapped this up, but if not, you're going to get it twice because I can't remember. Like a songbird in a cage, Anya has spent her entire life the general's perfect daughter. He snaps his fingers, she jumps, he tells her to smile, she beams like she's made of the sun itself. But underneath all those gems and glitter, she works to destroy her father and save the city she loves. When an Udine sneaks his way into her city, intent on kidnapping her, she lets him. Jaos is plagued by decisions of his past, soul haunts him, memories follow every move, and all he knows is that perhaps stealing this woman will absolve him of his sins. If he can bring her back to his people, they can destroy the city where his hatred was born. He's certain this will be easier, but he sees the general's daughter and he knows nothing will ever be the same again. And knows nothing will be the same again, broken, damaged. He's certain no woman will ever love him. He didn't even try to encourage the mating instinct that ride him hard the moment he sees her. When he realizes she's the same as he is, different from her people, and on the outskirts of what others deem normal, he knows he's a goner, even if it means he has to risk everything to keep her. So it's a 5-star. Emma Hand's writing of this series, because I haven't read any of her other series, so far has been 5 stars. Dios is suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, and he really was like one of the bad guys in the book 1, and for him it was to redeem what he did and to help his people. And Anya has spent her whole life being this perfect daughter to the general while plotting a rebellion, and it's their relationship, it's enemies. Not really, I don't honestly, it's not enemies to lovers. I'm wrong. It's Beauty and the Beast, and it's perfect and it's brilliant, and I love this series. So if I did wrap it up twice, I do apologize. Now, I did finish a physical book, The Orc and Her Bride by Lilia Gwen, and I gave it 3.5. I don't know, I'm frustrated with the beginning. I honestly don't think for fantasy that I like bratty character. I don't mind it if in a contemporary romance, but I do not like the bratty character. So Ruga, dutiful orc princess with a heart full of gold, has spent the years since her sister was elected queen serving the country of Torden. Her duties now include marrying an elf princess for a much needed alliance against an outside threat. Elkeith, rakish elf princess with a pendant for chaos, has never lifted a finger in her life. Now that an engagement sprung upon her by a stern elvish king, she has fulfilled her duty. 50-day patrol period in Torden, surrounded by strangers, unless she can wreak enough havoc to get sent back home. These poor orcs don't know what they're in for. And it is a 3.5. I liked Ruga as a character more. She was well rounded, she was more responsible, and like it said, she's the elf princess Elkeith has not lifted a finger in her life, so her society is they have servants do everything for them. And really, Ruga has done everything for herself for her entire life. So 3.5. I actually, it says there was another book that I don't know if it never got published or the author just didn't get inspired. What it has a title, and I think I'd like that one a bit more because the bratty trope isn't for me. But she has other series that I'm going to dive into on Kindle Unlimited to see if I like. So this makes it 22 books read, and I do think I wrapped up 21. So we might need to make this smaller. I'll see when I'm editing this, but overall, good. Very good time, and I happy to at least read a backlist book. So I'll talk to you guys later. It's time to wrap up the rest of the month of May. But I do want to say before we do the wrap up, I finished 31 books in 31 days, barely last night, and the reason why is I worked so much overtime. I'm not kidding, I had so many shifts and a lot of things changed, so I had to focus on digital reading for the rest of the month. So let's read the description of what I read. So I read Firefly Volume. Alright, let me get comfortable, sorry. So I read Firefly Weddings Volume 1 and Volume 2. I can't remember if I already wrapped this up. I might have. I'm doing speed reading, so if it's included twice, I apologize. So they were both 3 stars. Afflicted with a heart condition, Menji, noblewoman Sakoto, is determined to secure a marriage that will benefit her family before she dies. But before she can realize her goal, she's targeted by a mysterious assassin named Shippen. In a last-ditch effort to save her life, Sakoto asks would-be murderer to marry her. Her proposal isn't sincere, but unfortunately for her, Shippen loves as intensely as he kills. Can Sakoto find a way to break the engagement without losing her life? On the surface, Sakoto has it all. She's beautiful, the daughter of a nobleman, and a prime age for marriage. Unfortunately, she's also quite ill and only has a short time left to live before she can secure a marriage that will redeem her worthy in her family eyes. Why is this just repeating it twice, the description twice? Okay, so Sakoto basically uses Shippen to basically get off this pleasure island, and she makes this deal, lies to him, tells him kind of the truth. He's a psychopath, and I like dark romances. I don't know why I couldn't connect to this manga, why I could not connect at all, and it drove me nuts the entire time I was reading these 2 volumes because I really wanted to like this manga. 3 stars. I was hoping like it would only have 1 more volume and then I could finish off the series, but there's like I think 6 volumes in the series and there might be more later on, so I will not be continuing on with this manga series. The next one I read, and I forgot to get the description, but I remember this one very well, is Colette Decides to Die. I gave this 4 stars. Colette is a healer apothecary. She's the only one in this village. Let me move that a bit closer. And she basically is exhausted from all the work she is doing to keep these villagers alive. Not only she can't eat, she can't sleep, she gets interrupted with everything. So she's standing up in front of a well, jumps in because she's exhausted and wants to kind of go. She meets Hades and she just assumes she's dead. She finds out Hades is allergic to the sun and she treats him for his allergic reaction to the sun. It is their kind of friend to romance him, telling her, making her discover she needs to rest, and it's their journey together. And I enjoyed it, and I will continue on. I think I read the first one off Libby. I might have to purchase the other volumes, but that's for another day. But overall, highly would recommend that. It was really cute. So I read a manga, or not manga, graphic marvel, and I've had this on my radar for a couple years, and I didn't really want to buy the physical copy, so I bought the Kindle because it was on Kindle Unlimited. So, The Marble Queen. Princess Amelia's kingdom, Marion, is in shambles. After months of their trade routes being ravaged by pirates, and now the only seemingly option left is for her to save it through a marriage alliance. When she gets an offer from a royal of Iliad, a country shrouded in mystery, Amelia accepts without question and leaves her home, begins a new life. But she lands on Iliad shores to find her betrothal isn't to the prince, but the coronated queen Solaria. Shocked, Amelia tries to make sense of her situation as confused heart. Solaria awakens a strange new feeling inside of her, but dark hides behind the queen's sorrowful eyes. Amelia must fight the demons of her own anxiety disorder before she's tackled her wife's, all while looming war on the horizon. So this was a marriage of convenience because they were fighting pirates, and what's her name? Solaria needed this as well to open up more food for her kingdom. I gave this a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. I was kind of hoping this it's a standalone, but I wouldn't have been mad if they turned this into a comic series or even just a comic series in this world of queer romances. I would have loved that. It was good and it was so much fun to read. Then I read 3 volumes of Nina the Starry Bride, and they were all 4 stars, which I really did enjoy. And I want to watch the anime, but I don't know what point to read the manga to, so I don't get spoiled for them. Vice versa. I like to read the manga first, but sometimes you have to watch the series first. So, Nina is an orphan living in a fantasy land of Fortuna. Discovered by Prince Azu, her unusual blue eyes bears a similarity to the deceased Princess Alicia, who was due to be married off to a powerful naval kingdom, their prince Set. Thus, Prince Azusa hatches a plan to plot to have Nina take Princess Alicia's place, but the two became very drawn to each other. So the first 2 volumes is her basically being trained to be Alicia and dealing with the political countries, kind of what happened. Like, they don't really describe what happened to Alicia. So she was sold into slavery. She takes Alicia's place. She has to be trained to be the princess. She gets close to the prince, who is Alicia's brother, and they kind of develop some sort of relationship. But she is set to marry the prince of this conquering country Set, and I know this is dual. Like, she ends up loving them both from the trailer. Like, she gets feelings for both. So it'll be interesting to continue on with the series. But overall, it was a good, fun, and I enjoyed it. And 4 stars does make me want to continue it more. I was hoping it to be 5 stars. It just didn't feel like a 5 stars for me. And so the last 2 things I read kind of rounded it off with poetry collections by Amanda Lovelace. Let me get to the next browser. So we read To Make Monsters Out of a Girl, Volume 1, Things That Haunt. So I read, I think it's only a duology of a poetry collection. So it says, in this first installment, To Make Monsters Out of Girls, Amanda Lovelace explores memories of being in love and abusive relationships. She poses the eternal question, can you heal once you've been marked by a monster, or will the sun always sting? I will have to say some of these poems were amazing. Overall, a rounded collection of 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the second one a bit more, but it still was 4 stars of the collection. So, To Drink Coffees with a Ghost. Oh, it is the final installment. It was a duology. In the first installment, To Make Monsters Out of Girls, Lovelace explored the memory of being in a toxic romantic relationship. In To Drink Coffee with a Ghost, Lovelace unravels the memory of a complicated relationship she had with her deceased mother. I have to say, overall, Amanda Lovelace is probably one of my favorite poetry writers, and each one is very unique to the topic she is talking about. But it was interesting to see she's had very complicated relationships, especially like in Make Girls Out of Monsters. The toxic relationship she was talking about, how bad the situation developed for her and the other people around her, was very eye opening. And I think I need to read more of her other collections. But like I said, I don't know if I would buy them. I might buy them for Kindle, like especially because I want to like finish out series. I think I'd like to definitely finish them out. So it will be interesting. So that is the wrap up. So we've read 31 things in 31 days. I don't know if I missed anything, which is, I might have. If I did overall, it's been 31 things. But let's talk about total pages read for the month of May. So it's 6,814 pages. I think my favorite things I've read this month would have to be Wave Song. The Wave Song and Whispering in the Deep series. I love those two originally, but Wave Song was my favorite because it like emotionally made me cry. And it did make me cry because I know what happened to Wave Song. Like I talk into the vlog for book one. Overall, it changed my whole experience reading that series. Unfortunately, I didn't finish 3 or 4, so there will definitely be continued in the month of June. So hopefully, we can finish up that series and do an overall wrap up in the vlog. But I'm hyped to finish the series. So I'll see you tomorrow for the next Bookmas video, and I hope you guys are enjoying. And if you've read any of these books, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Bye for now.